Yeah, live and direct from the new planet Earth, where pandemics are plenty, but the girls are still pretty in fashionable dresses. You know what I'm talking about. Where ignorance is bliss, and you ain't gotta give a about no code.
Tell me who unleashed our animal instinct. Why the op standing there tickle pink? Have a drink, no more liquor. Got a poison. One thicker, one gangster, one hole in the desert for the snitch. What happened to the cold?
Welcome to another edition of the Franchise Podcast. I'm Joe Arrigo. With me is my partner in crime, TQ. Not with us is Nyshawn, who once again is on some speed dating thing from what you said, Squeeze.
Yeah, man, she's desperately looking for love, and we 100% support her in her pursuit of a good man. If anybody wants to send in applications, we're taking applications for a new boyfriend for Nyshawn at info@franchisesportsmedia.com. Send in your qualifications right now. We're accepting
with a headshot, because she don't mess with no ugly people.
Got to be a headshot. I don't know about the she don't mess with ugly people.
Nah, that is true. Yeah.
I've seen some things before that were quite questionable.
Yeah, questionable behavior. Speaking of questionable, brother, we got a lot of questionable things happening down in Henderson at the Raiders headquarters. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk some Aces playoff basketball. Of course, we're going to talk last week, the week that was UNLV. But right now, let's kick it off with the hottest topic, Davante Adams and the Raiders. All right, Squeeze, it came out on Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon that Davante Adams has indeed requested a trade. Now, for weeks, there's been speculation. Speculation can go back to when we were at training camp this year, when there was whispers that AP wasn't necessarily happy with what happened on a wide receiver, and that when Davante left for the birth of his son, that he took a little extended time, leaving maybe a little bit too early for the liking of some people in the organization. Didn't get enough time going on in training camp. Well, looks like the rubber hit the road. Adams, who's been out for a week he hurt his hamstring last Thursday at practice, the last practice before their game against Cleveland. Missed the game, and then on Tuesday, after his interview with Up and Adams, K. Adams, it came out through Rappaport and Garofalo that indeed Tay wants to be traded. Squeeze, first of all, let me get your thoughts on this.
I mean, look, I felt the same way AP felt when I saw the wide receiver show. First of all, let me go back. All right, I want to start this by saying that I absolutely understand and support to a certain level the right of Davante Adams to be as frustrated as he is with the Raiders. All right, I understand. The man left from Aaron Rodgers, one of the best throwers of a football we've ever seen, right? The reason why it was a comfortable exit from Green Bay was because he was coming to play with Derek Carr, right? When he got to Vegas, it was a clown show because it was a clown show hire as far as the head coach. I'm not going to say that it was all the head coach's fault, the reason why Derek Carr was gone, but the bottom line is Derek Carr was gone in a year. That first year here, Davante put up comparable numbers to the numbers that him and people who follow him were used to, right? The replacement killers, that's what I call them. He had a point. Jimmy Garoppolo came in here throwing the ball, hanging him out to dry. You get Jimmy out of there, what do you have? You have Aiden O'Connell and you have Gardner Minshew.
And Brian Hoyer. Don't forget, Hoyer got some time too.
Oh my God, I just got a headache. Completely forgot about him. I mean, so that being said, that frustration is warranted. However, what's not warranted is airing out that type of laundry for the public. That ain't cool. Now, we both been on teams before. I've never been paid to be on a team. You have. There's a certain amount of professionalism that should come along with getting a check to play the game that you love in a team environment. Look, I've been in the entertainment business for a long time. You're not going to put anything out without me approving it, with me on it. I'm going to get a chance to watch this whole thing and say, no, I'm not allowing that part. I'm not allowing that part. I'm not allowing that part. So I wasn't there. I don't know the situation and the deal that he had with Netflix or the production company or whatever.
Omaha.
But I would think, right, I would think that he had the opportunity to watch the show before it came out. And if I had that opportunity, some of those things I wouldn't have allowed to be in the final cut of the show. He did. That means that he wanted the world to hear him say the things that he was saying. Right there is when I break from what I was just saying and I go into the other side of it. The best part for me personally, and I'm being selfish here, about the hire of Antonio Pierce as the coach, he coming from the same place I'm coming from. We from the same area of town in Compton, California. And there's a way to go about doing things and a way not to go about doing things. You keep the family business inside the family. When it comes down to football, it's team first. In a time where an organization, a franchise like the Raiders, who for years have needed a culture flip, we got the person to flip the culture. I said episodes ago that we're going to have to be patient with this regime and with this team because there needs to be a rinsing. There are certain people around that are not in the future of the Raiders. There are certain people around that need to be the cornerstone of the future of the Raiders. Hey, that comes with age, that comes with attitude, and that comes from the ability to go out and execute. Davante had some of those things he doesn't. I saw a real problem, just like you did, with not seeing his face one day during camp. How can you be the leader of the team, one of the faces of the franchise, and not show up during a time when, especially on your side of the ball, there's a complete change in system. People got to learn this. You got to be there to teach. It's not necessarily, okay, if you're in Green Bay still, okay, miss camp, who cares? You know the system. You know this system, but you have to be there to teach the system to those who don't know it, because that's the role you're supposed to play. That's why you're making that kind of money. So those are the things that rub me wrong, and I believe that those are the things that rubbed AP and the brass at the top wrong also.
You know, I'm not going to make excuses, but I want to look into some possible reasoning besides just off the top that Derek Carr was traded and the Raiders just haven't had a good team, and there's all kinds of drama regarding social media posts, and there's just a lot of young, I guess it's drama. I mean, the way we put it is drama. There's no other way I could put it.
Petty.
Now,
petty drama.
Petty, yes, extremely petty. Now, in Green Bay, he wasn't asked to be the face of the franchise. That came on Aaron Rodgers. He was, and really, historically with that team, other than Reggie White and Leroy Butler, they've never really asked any other players other than their quarterbacks to be the face of the franchise. That includes Clay Matthews and Nick Collins and a slew of other players. So he didn't have to carry the burden of the different type of media requests and being pulled in all these different directions for endorsement deals and shootings and reality shows. And you know as well as I do, coming from entertainment business, that could be a bit overwhelming. And if you've never had to deal with it before, it's kind of a feeling out process. If you haven't dealt with it or have someone that has, that's kind of can direct you and kind of guide you through it, just like a coach, you could fall flat on your ass and on your face and maybe look a certain way, whether you like you're like that or not. From any instance with Davante, he never was the ego receiver, the me guy out there just for stats. He wants to win. And I think that is what it comes down to. He doesn't feel that the Raiders this year can win, and he sees where he is at in his career at this point. Now that's the most valuable thing. You've gotten your two big paydays. You're financially set for life. Now you want to make sure you win that Super Bowl, or at least get there. And, obviously right now at 2-2, good record, tied for second in the AFC West. The Raiders don't look like a team that's going to get to a Super Bowl at this moment. Now they're coming off a game where the week previous they fell flat on their ass and where there was emotionless, but this past weekend against Cleveland looked like the polar opposite. Guys were out there hustling, making plays. It just seemed like a different environment, and that was without their two best players, Max Crosby and Tay. So
right.
I tend to think that he's looking at it like, I want to win now. And I see some of these other guys, and they're winning and they're getting paid. Now, there's been a lot of speculation behind the scenes that this is what it comes down to. Davante knows the last 2 years of his contract, it's puffed up money, it's not guaranteed, and it's something that he's probably worried that he's not going to get a payday. So this could be a ploy or a way for him to turn around and potentially get another contract with the Raiders. It's a different route. He can go to them potentially and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for, and they may want to keep him to continue to lead. But that's the question. Is Davante really trying to leave and go somewhere, or is he trying to get another contract with the Raiders? As of right now, just like a lot of other players, he uses his leverage as him saying he wants to leave. But we'll see.
I mean, human nature, if you see a lot of guys getting paid that you're better than, and you have proven that you're better than, and have been sustained in proving that you're better than, you might feel a certain way. I get it. But at the same time, I go back to what I was saying in the beginning. The drop off in quarterbacks, man, it's valid. You know what I'm saying? That's no knock to Minshew. I'm not trying to knock AOC. Again, Minshew hasn't played great, but he's played a lot better than I thought he was going to play. But he is no Aaron Rodgers, and I don't care what Raider Nation says. He is no Derek Carr either. Davante understands that, and anybody watching him throw the ball ought to be able to understand it too, regardless of how much you hate Derek Carr and whatever reason you hate him for. But there is some validity, I think, to the money play here. I just feel like, in my opinion, there's a way to go about things and there's a way not to. And with the coach that we have, this is the way not to.
But do you feel, and I think this is a fair question, do you feel that it's AP holds some sort of responsibility for liking the post on Instagram from Michael Fabiano saying that he thinks Davante's played his last down as a Raider? I mean, that's kind of like petty in itself, and that kind of would probably kick off the firestorm.
Yeah, it is. I think he does hold some responsibility. I think that he's a football man, bro, completely. For him, it's not about analytics. It's not about all of this frou-frou new stuff. He's old school. It's about, he comes from where we come from. He doesn't come from this new, I don't even know what you call this new era. I just know it's not ours. You know what I'm saying? So that
you sound like the old man on the porch right now.
Yeah, fine. That's cool. I'll be that. I got no problem with him. He owns his house. Feel what I'm saying? So got no problem with being that. But the point is, that's the kind of person that I would want if I need a culture change. And the culture that I'm trying to change is this type of action, right? Where, look, man up, Tell me what it is that you feel, and let's talk about it. So I go back to at least what we heard the situation was with Josh Jacobs, right? I felt like it was more conversation there. I felt like the conversation led to, let me try to see what I could do to facilitate this, even if it doesn't make as much financial sense as something else. And that's the man-to-man, being real with each other situation that this should be. And I just don't see it. And I understand the emotional side, the level of pissed offness that somebody acting in this way could cause. And when I sat and I watched the wide receiver show, I got pissed off. And I agreed with him. I agreed with Davante 100% because everything that he was saying was the truth. I even said it on one of our earlier episodes. A player, a wide receiver that runs impeccable routes, that understands timing, has to have an accurate quarterback or he's going to get hurt. Tyreek Hill can run out of those dangerous situations. It's not necessarily about the best route. It's about, I can get to this space on the field better, faster than anybody else can. So just throw the ball around there somewhere. Now, if you put him with somebody go ahead.
You're right with Hill, but he has to have someone throwing the ball. And I think it's the same thing with Davante. He has to have someone throwing the ball, especially the way he runs routes. Because, and I equated it to UNLV, where you got guys at the line. Even I said it on Hammer Show on Monday. When you got somebody on the line and they're doing all this to get off the line, it's not as fast as Davante. So timing is important. So while yes, guys look like they're running free, how many seconds are they at the line trying to get off the line of scrimmage and with the pass rush coming? And now, by that time, the timing's out of whack instead of just making your move and going.
Facts. The flip side is, we're speaking of Tyreek Hill. He's dealing with the same thing right now with Tua being hurt. The difference between him and Davante, you can find other ways to get him the ball. He's a different kind of receiver. Davante Adams needs a certain kind of quarterback to be the best version of Davante Adams. So again, I completely understand his frustration, if that's what it's based on. I disagree with the way he has handled it throughout the offseason, on that dumbass show, and right now. Because from what I've heard, what was said in the Kay Adams interview wasn't the truth. I don't see it as something that just came out of nowhere. It's something that's been brewing, and it's been brewing for a while, because in the wide receiver program, the man said the words, "I got to get out of here." Did he or did he not?
No, he did.
So here he is trying to get out of here.
So we're talking about where he could go. Obviously, the Jets make the most sense. You brought it up yesterday when we were texting. Everybody, the Jets make the most sense for Hassan Reddick and a pick. I would be if you can get that deal, and I would presume it would happen next week since the Jets are in London this week. That would probably be the best thing for him. He goes into an offense he already knows. Look, you may not agree with this, but Garrett Wilson isn't necessarily happy there right now. Find a way to get Garrett Wilson in the deal with Davante. I think that would be I think that'd be amazing. Now that probably won't happen. But
yeah, you're gonna do the same thing to Garrett Wilson that you did to Davante. You bring him from the best thrower we've ever seen to Gardner Minshew. He's gonna be pissed off. Flip side, Hassan Reddick has not played a game for the Jets. He's at home chilling. The Jets won't miss him. They won't have to pay him. That's the opposite effect. Oh, you're going to take me from this? Yeah, this is a pretty good defense. I see this. But oh my God, you're going to put me with Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins. Did you see Butler in the game against the Browns? Do you realize that Malcolm Kuntz is coming back to the team at some point?
Not this year. He's out for the year. Kuntz is done for the year.
I'm saying at some point in his career, I don't see the Raiders just letting him go next year.
Tyree Wilson graded out as the top defensive lineman last week for the Raiders at like 77%. So you see him, maybe it's just him getting comfortable going back to that side where he was at his entire college career and putting his hand down and just going. And he also plays the run really well. So he may not rush the passer, but he plays great at times, but he plays the run well. So you have a balanced person there.
Looked like he got some get off all of a sudden this week. I don't know what got into him, but if we're going to get that version of him, I love it. Just imagine adding Hassan Reddick to that. But this whole second round pick and some compensation for Davante Adams, what is up with the Raiders with that? I remember when they gave away Randy Moss for a bag of Fritos. What is that? Come on, man. We don't do that again. You can't take the best receiver in the league and just give him away. I don't care where he wants to go. You can send his ass to the CFL if it's going to make the Raiders better. Damn the second round shit. Let's get Hassan Reddick up out of there, add him to this team, and move forward.
Not before Hassan Reddick, and maybe add another pick, maybe fourth to go with him, something like that. I think that's fair. I'm not being trying to be logical. Next team up, you would probably say the Bills. They got some salary cap constraints, but you put him on Buffalo. That offense is different. The Steelers is another team you could put him with. The Saints, but again, Green Bay traded him to the Raiders in part because that's where he wanted to go, and they got a first and a second round pick for him. The Raiders aren't getting a 1 and a 2 for him, and he doesn't have the ties to the organization like he did with Green Bay to say, we're going to send you where you want to go. So,
do the Saints have the money to do a deal with him? Because part of this is you're going to have to give him a deal. You're going to have to sign him. And he's north of 30. The going rate right now for the best receivers in the league is $30 million a year. Do the Saints have that? There's a team out there that has it, and I hope to God that the Raiders don't even pick up the phone in case they call.
No, they already said the Chiefs. They're not dealing with them.
No. Come on, that's stupid. Anybody that's just wasting breath. That's clickbait. But the Detroit Lions, oh my goodness, please, don't let him get there. That being said, if he gets to Baltimore, that's your Super Bowl champ this year.
That would be Baltimore. Would be interesting. They were on. I didn't put them on the list in the article, but the other teams are. You brought up the 49ers in our text. The reason why that won't happen is Ayuk's new deal. They can't trade Ayuk. If it was in training camp and you got to see I could have seen a 1-for-1 then, but that's just not happening now. But look, we'll see what happens with Davante as Davante's saga plays out in the next week or so, maybe 2 weeks. We never know. We've seen guys asked to be traded. Jonathan Taylor, who almost was traded at the deadline, and it signs a big deal to stay with the Colts. These things could change at any moment, so we'll see what happens. I think we live in a generation, and we talk about it all the time on the show, where everybody is so quick to jump to a conclusion without knowing any of the facts. They read something and they wanted to jump on it we're going to go here with it. Chill out. Wait and see how this plays out, because eventually all the truth is going to come out. Everybody, you're going to know what got said, what didn't get said, why a trade was asked, why a deal got done, either being traded away or him staying. Just chill out and relax and see what happens, because the Raiders are too.
Yeah, if I'm gonna take my hunch though, if I'm just gonna go with my hunch, I think he tore his ass with AP. I really do.
Oh, I would agree. I would agree with your hunch.
Yeah.
Now that's my hunch too. Like,
Yeah.
I think there was a difference of opinion, but here's the thing that I find interesting. He and Max banged the table for AP.
Yes.
What's being reciprocated? Is it being reciprocated? Like,
Right.
I'm just asking. I'm just asking because the players that up for Bisaccia and Mark Davis got hammered for not hiring Rich Bisaccia,
Right.
but you can't let the players choose the head coach. You have to do what's best for the organization. If it just so happens that aligns, great. But just because they want it, don't mean you do it, because then it gets to a point to where I don't say who has control, but who really is running things. And I think that's a problem.
I think that was a part of it, Joe. I don't think the decision was made strictly because of the players. I think that, listen, I'm a fan. I'm a lifelong fan of this team. What this team has needed for years and years and years. I mean, since Rice and Tim Brown, them, Charles Woodson, them, is a culture change, a change of culture. This team needed a strong leader of men who had been in the trenches with a helmet on. And I think that the fact that the players wanted somebody that would coach them in the way that AP would, I think that played into the fact that, listen, Mark Davis ain't stupid. Everybody can take away whatever they want from him. That man is far from stupid.
Right.
I think that he understood after the hire didn't go well with the Patriot way, and that's what that was about. His whole point from taking that package of GM and coach from the Patriots was to change the culture. This place is supposed to have a winning culture. So when that didn't work out, it's like, okay, all my players are rallying around this guy. The best players on my team feel like he needs to be the guy. I didn't do it the last time I went my way. Let's see what happens this way. And Antonio has a track record that he's a player's guy, but he's not gonna take no whole lot of shit, man. And that's the kind of coach that the Raiders need. So if I'm going with one guy or the other, I'm gonna go down with AP as opposed to going down with Davante.
Well, I just think that there's that dynamic between, like, we bang the table for you, you're supposed to have our back, and then
Right.
maybe he feels like why aren't you having my back? And then he goes out and AP
You said
talked about
out of your mouth. You said out of your mouth on TV, I gotta get out of here. Those words are a problem. After that, you don't come to camp. After that, you make business decisions in several games. You drop some balls, you yapping, talking, you ain't showing up. And at the same time, this all happens in a time, in an area of time where you see a lot of people better that aren't as good as Davante getting paid more than Davante. I just think it's a whole big dish of a whole lot of situations coming together at the worst possible time, and that's where it went left. So if he wants to get out, get him out of here.
Well, that leads to like, I was going to bring up the business decisions. I'm glad you mentioned it. It leads you to think that maybe Antonio Pierce was talking to an extent about Davante, and was talking about obviously talking about Jack Jones sitting him out the first quarter. Maybe
Right.
There's a couple other guys that he feels that made business decisions that he would rather see out of town. And look, the Raiders are going to be fine salary cap wise. They have $72 million in space next year. If Davante gets traded, it goes up into the 120s. They're going to have money to spend if they want to spend on players and make whatever moves they want to make. I haven't looked at who's available yet. It's way too early for that.
Right.
But to keep that in mind. Now, I want to shift to on the field though, and kind of get away from.
I do want to say one thing. There is a piece of video floating around out there that I saw in my feed. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Davante are sitting at a table, and
Oh yeah,
Davante asked him to pick apart his game. And one of the things that he said, you don't want to block. And Davante agreed. And I understand that, hey, that ain't my job. I'm not here to block. I'm here to catch balls. But this is 2024, and it's a different NFL. We see that it's going back to ground and pound a little bit. And you're getting double teamed most of the game. If you don't be aggressive out there, you're letting two people come crash the backfield. That shouldn't be. So it's a part of the game going forward. Everybody has to play a little different and get a little uncomfortable to win, including him.
Well, the thing about that is coming into the league and playing with Green Bay up until, well, really the entire time in Green Bay, he was known as one of the better blocking wide receivers in the league, because there's a theory in Green Bay that they tell their receivers, no block, no rock. So,
same thing. Oh, I get it.
So
what changed?
But again, you go to a team where you're the face of you become the everything, and you become the expectation. I don't know, your pedestal gets raised, and because of that, okay, well, the other receivers who are here didn't have to do this, so I'm not going to do that. And it may be something that came down from the top. Maybe it came down from Ziegler, like, hey, like, or not Ziegler, McDaniels, hey, like, you know what, like, just block enough to where he gets loose. Don't have to worry about, whatever. I know Coach Dub doesn't preach that. He was his position coach at Fresno State, was at the Ravens. Now, ironically, he's the Jets wide receiver coach. So all stars kind of align for him going.
Tape don't lie, as far as I'm concerned. You can look at the tape and you can see when business decisions are being made. You're able every Monday to watch the games from the All-22 and pick it all apart. You'll be able to see yourself who made business decisions.
Well, that leads to, like, business decisions equals bad play. And person that's been playing real bad, and he doesn't even get his nickname anymore, Zamir White. The Raiders running situation, I think, cleared itself up, and then Mattson made it abundantly clear that he should be running back one. He had 50 yards on 6 carries. He scored touchdowns for the Raiders. He was really good in the passing game.
Yeah,
Alexander Mattison's been one hell of a pickup for them. Zamir White, the knock on him was his vision coming out of Georgia, that he wasn't a lot of wiggle. We're seeing that now. Some guys are really good preseason runners when you're going against the 2s and the 3s. That may be what he is, because against the 1s, he ain't that.
And this scheme is not for him. It's just not. That's the bottom line. He is not the player for this scheme. This scheme is going to take vision. It's one cut and get through the hole. He's not that. He can't see it. He hesitates. It's time, and it makes the offensive line look worse than they really are. Again, when you watch the All-22, you can see holes being built. He's not running through them. He's hesitating. In this blocking scheme, the hole ain't going to stay open forever. That's the point of this. Get through there and get up the field. He's incapable of it. He's RB2 or 3. And that's just what it is.
I think this year they got to run out, keep running with Madison, and then get Lobby some touches now.
Yes.
I think you got to work the guy in. And then next year, you turn to 2 guys. You draft the kid out of Boise State, if you can, or you draft Jaden out of Cal. One of those 2. I think Ott would fit in well with this current scheme as far as being able to get out and line up in the slot, and he can do a lot of different things. Plus, he runs behind his pads well and has 4.3 speed.
Right. Agreed. 100%.
But 2-2 head into this week's game against Denver, where, everybody but the Chiefs are 2-2 in that division. The Raiders are still in it. And again, if someone would have said to you, Squeeze, when we did the schedule release show, Raiders would be 2-2 after the first 4 games, but the 2 wins would be Baltimore and Cleveland. I think everybody been like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah, because I said it early. I expected Cleveland to be one of the better teams in the AFC, and I saw those two as losses straight up. So yeah, I mean, this team is playing better than I thought they would at this, at the beginning of the year, after seeing camp, after seeing all of the offseason and everything else. I'm pleasantly surprised at the amount of fight that they have. They really impressed me to be able to go out there and grind out that game without their best two players this weekend. That was saying something. I know, Cleveland isn't what we thought they were going to be, but that's still saying something for the Raiders. So they still in it, man. They gotta go and do what they've been doing, whoop up on Denver, and we'll see what happens after that.
I mean, look, if they whoop up on Denver, Green Bay whoops up on the Rams. Now you're looking at the 1-4, 1-5 Rams. Stafford again. There's been talk. I mean, I got texts from people that we know that say, hey, like a lot of chatter about the Rams trying to move on for some guys.
Yeah.
Again, I'll let y'all know if that happens. I'm going to be insufferable. Just to let you guys know.
Yeah, you deserve it. If it does, go ahead. Unsuffer us all.
We'll talk about that when we get to UNLV. But right now, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the two-time WNBA world champion Aces up against the ropes against the Liberty.
This segment was brought to you by National College Resources Foundation, the College Expo. NCRF is a 501c3 nonprofit educational enhancement organization whose mission is to curtail the high school dropout rate and increase degree and/or certificate enrollment among underserved, underrepresented, at-risk, low-resource, homeless, and foster students. For more information, visit www.thecollegeexpo.org today.
Welcome back to the Franchise Podcast. I'm Joe Rigo. With me is my partner, TQ. No nice Sean today. Nice out and about, doing her single, mingling. Stay out of our DMs, though, too, because we told you how to get in contact for the speed dating.
Yes.
If you're not, watch the beginning of the show. Squeeze, Aces, Liberty, Game 3 happening Friday night here in town. Look, Game 1, they didn't look good. Game 2, I think if you ask anybody, Asia Wilson really wishes he had that layup she blew back in the fourth quarter that would have tied the game. Do you think that the amount of games they played over the course of the last 2 years, winning back-to-back, has finally caught up with them, as well as having 3 of their starters or four of their players actually playing in the Olympics?
I think that has something to do with it. But I mean, yes, that's definitely a part of it. At the same time, this New York Liberty team is really good, man. I mean, it's been almost a calendar year since the Aces have beat them. Literally. I think they played them 5 times this year. They lost every game. So, like, at a certain point, the wear and tear, and then the familiarity and the fire that losing that championship last year put under the Liberty all comes to play at the same time. And I think Becky Hammond said it as candid and as best as anybody could say it. Look, the edge, it's impossible to keep it consistently to win 3 straight with an Olympic gold medal in between, where pretty much 4 of the starting 5 come, or you got 4 of your starting 5 people playing in the Olympics. So it's not going to be easy for them to beat this team in this series. I do believe, I'm still on Rudy T. You don't underestimate the heart of a champion. And I cannot see the Las Vegas Aces with Asia Wilson as the captain getting swept out of any series. I just don't see that. I'm calling for a win in this first home game. I mean, I believe the series can go 5, but I'm definitely putting on my money on the Aces to win this next game. Look, man, they've been the darlings of the city. They've been the darlings of the WNBA. No, we said this before, not taking anything away from Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. Before they got here, this league was carried by the Aces. It's been carried by the Aces now for years. And after a while, just like the coach said, you know, they're all over the place, man. They got all the commercials. They got all the deals. They got this. They got that. You see them. Every time you see them, they in this celebratory mode where it just seems like it's fun. And they just winning and winning. They in the glitz and the glam of Las Vegas. Everything is new. They get this awesome facility. Look, everybody's mad. Everybody's coming at their heads. And this is a buzzsaw in New York. This team was built to take out the Aces. That's the whole point. And they are planning to do that. It is not going to be easy for us to get out of this series alive. You know, I still believe we got the best coach in the league. I think that she has to go balls to the wall to try to instill that edge for literally 3 more games, because there's nobody else that wants to see them in a series other than this New York Liberty team.
I would agree with that. I think, you know, winning Friday night, you can't win the series by winning Friday night. So you got to win that one game. And then you got to go into game 4 and win that game. The Aces, I believe, are 1-8 against the Liberty in their last 9 games, with the one win being last year's deciding game for the championship. So they've struggled with them. And I think, you know, if we're going to be real about something, Kelsey Plum has not played great this season.
No,
there has been very inconsistent. I don't know if it's the divorce or if there's maybe the glitz and glamour of gotten her, because she's in a lot of commercials now. She's doing a lot of different things. I'm curious as to whether or not she's exhausted with her play, because again, I expected more from her this year. I'm pretty sure the team did as well. And she just hasn't shown up in big games, to the point where she almost, you know, essentially was benched for like a quarter in Tuesday night's game, because she just was ineffective and Becky wasn't having it anymore. Like, she needs people out there that's going to play defense and score some points. And I think when she's trying to score, her defense slides. And if she's not scoring, then she kind of pouts on defense. And defense is all effort. At any level, defense is effort. It's just you putting in the effort to want to stop somebody. Is that effort still there? You know, it's great. It's great when you're partying and winning titles. But right now is a time where it's not just about that. You got to go out there and you got to play some good defense, because your defense leads to easy points on the offensive side, and then your buckets will come.
Absolutely. I agree. You know, I'll say something that's going to be pretty unpopular, right? I believe that, look, Asia Wilson has been the best player in the league for several years now, right? But I believe this season was born out of the snubbing of the MVP award last season. I believe that 100%. That lit a fire under her that could make her the best ever when it's all said and done, right? Honestly, I think that losing this year and watching New York win that thing in Las Vegas on their home court could do the same thing for this team going forward. This team is in the midst of a dynasty, whether they lose this year or not. And I think that with some rest, within an actual summer of rest and some regrouping and some, you know, refocusing on the goal, they could go on another run if this doesn't go right.
But it's also,
coach says, man, it's hard to win it. It's hard to three-peat. How many times has it happened in any sport? Not easy.
Well, I know the comments did it. Houston Comets did it for the WNBA back in the day with Swoops, Turner,
20 years.
and Cynthia Cooper. Yeah. You know, the expansion draft is coming up for the WNBA, and they can keep 6 players on the roster. They can protect 6. So obviously, I think it'll probably be the starting 5 as it currently is, in Annalisa Clark.
Yeah.
After that, could there be somebody else that is removed from the team? Like that would be the question.
It's possible. It's possible. But the starting 5 is the nucleus, man. That's the nucleus of the championships. That's the beautiful part of their game. And as long as those are protected, look, I'll go to war with this same squad again next year. Because of what you just said. Like, this has been an extraordinary run with an Olympic Games stuck right in the middle of it. So I do believe that, and you can tell New York they got more legs right now. They just do. They got more legs. At the end of the day, they got more legs. They lost that finals last year, lit a fire under them, and they're trying to take it to the Aces and take them out. But the Aces with some time off, even if they win the championship this year, some time off, some time to refocus, some time to say, okay, I've had my fun. It's not about fun anymore. This is nothing new. This is what it is, championship or bust. I think that puts you in a different way. If you heard Tom Brady talking on that broadcast about what Tampa Bay was saying about when he left, fun. Winning championships is fun. Period. Now, getting to that point may not be fun, and it ain't supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be hard as hell. And when you won 2, that 3rd, 4th, 5th, on and on and on, it gets harder and harder and harder. So I think they have the nucleus of women who understand that. I think they're a little bit tired now. I think they're a little bit, basking in the championship sun. And I think this has already knocked them down a notch. I think they are awake, right? But do they have the legs to finish the job is the question.
Well, I think that is the question. And my response to them would be, you only have win. You got 6 wins in you. 6 wins and no losses. Give me the next 10 games, or was it 7 games or 8 games, whatever it is, 8 games. I need 6 wins in 8 games.
There it is.
Down, dig down, find it.
Honestly,
find
bro,
it, because
I just need 3 wins. I ain't worried about what happens. I need the next 3 games. If they win the next 3 games, they the champs as far as I'm concerned. I'm not worried about no other team left in these playoffs.
Nah, man, Minnesota can play, man.
Yeah, that's fine. They can. They not New York.
And New York's not Vegas.
Facts. So let's see what happens.
Let's do that. Aces tip-off Friday night here at the Michelob Ultra Arena inside Mandalay Bay. Make sure tip-off, I believe, is at 6:30. And another game going off on Friday we're going to get to right now. We'll take a quick break, come on back, talk some UNLV football. Last week, what happened on Saturday, and Syracuse game that's taking place on Friday night. Plus, we'll hear from a joke of a journalist. We'll be right back after this.
This section was brought to you by Coldwell Banker Premier Realty. Coldwell Banker is a service-driven, highly productive team of professional sales and support people who are dedicated to consistently providing superior real estate brokerage and related services, setting the industry standard of value and excellence.
Welcome back to the Franchise Podcast. I'm Joe Arrigo. That's TQ. Nye is probably having a glass of wine at this point of the day, and
Must be nice.
Yeah, for real. But last week when we recorded the show, it was last Tuesday, And you and I and Trish are at lunch because we have our meeting as executives with the company beforehand, before we record normally. And my phone starts to blow up, and and you see the look on my face, and you're like, what happened? And I said, Sluka's no longer on the team. Matthew Sluka, former starting quarterback, left UNLV after a discrepancy with NIL. Now, from what I was told by sources involved in this situation, is Sluka on Monday went into Coach Odom's office and said that his evaluation was reevaluated, and it's $300,000 for him to stay. Coach Odom then said, well, you have until tomorrow to figure out if you want to stay, because that's not happening. Sluka cleaned out his locker. The next day, when Coach Odom made the announcement to the team erupted in cheers. And the prevailing thought amongst the entire team was, we're going to be better. And the person that should be leading the offense and should have been leading the offense, Haj Malik Williams, will be assuming the starting quarterback role. Later on that Wednesday, there was tons of reports and speculation about what happened. Sluka said that and his representative said that he was promised $1,000, $100,000. Now, Squeeze, this is where things to me start to unravel. So after the spring game, I met Sluka face to face, and he introduced this gentleman as his NIL agent, and said the company, it is the exact same company that Sluka has pinned to his X profile, and that was pinned on January 2024, January 22nd of this year. So Sluka graduates from Holy Cross in May, and that's when he comes to UNLV. Now, the NIL agent didn't reach out to the school till like August. And with that, he talked to the collective. The collective said, wait a minute, you're not licensed. Here's the paperwork to get licensed in this state. Once you do that, we can negotiate whatever deal there is. So no deal was ever really negotiated in terms of with the agent. The agent says there was a deal negotiated. So the question is, were you the one negotiating that deal, Marcus Cromartie? Because if you were, now you just broke state law, which as an agent, you know, from family, you can't do that. So you keep doing these shows talking about, we offered this, and we offered to go down to this level. We offered to go down to this. You're offering, they can't negotiate with you. They're breaking the law then. They're not going to risk their 501c3 status. They're not going to risk losing the school or for any reason for the school. So you're in breach of law, if that's even a thing. Then I was told the collective was willing to give Sluka some money in his pocket while if the agent would hurry and fill the paperwork out, just so he kind of like help him out. They declined it.
Who declined
now,
it?
Sluka's camp.
Oh my goodness.
So
wow.
at this point, UNLV's taking a PR hit because, up until Thursday, because they weren't releasing any information. They weren't talking about what was going on. They're getting their ducks in a row. Why? Because they have a paper trail, and they have lawyers, and they have things that they have to go through before they just speak on it. Barry Odom, thank God Eric Harper did not throw Barry to the wolves and say, Barry, speak about it. I'm glad Harp at least did the hit on channel at the Fox affiliate out here on Channel 5 out here. I'm glad statements were made by UNLV, the company that's in charge of the NIL collective. I'm glad UNLV Athletics made a comment, and I'm glad the state attorney, I'm not the Attorney General or Secretary of State. He's the one that started the collective here at UNLV, and he's in our government. He's not going to let it's not Aaron, but it's I forget the person's name, but he came out and spoke and said and released a statement. So. Yeah. And I think those statements were almost like a slap, like, hey, enough. Stop talking because we have a paper trail. Now, again, UNLV took the hit on this PR initially, and then it became game time on Saturday against the tough Fresno State team, one of the three best teams arguably in the conference, a team that had won 3 or 4 straight games. The only loss was to Michigan, and they played them tough. It was everybody thought it was going to be a tough game. Well, Friday night, you and I were at Game of the Week with the rest of the crew for franchise. Our FSM Prep Rally Game of the Week was our review at Coronado, and the offensive line coach for Fresno State was there. And he said, man, look, that team's already close, and I think this even made them even closer. This is going to be a tough game. We didn't talk about anything about the game. That's what he said about the game.
He did.
Saturday came. Malik Williams came out 13 of 16 for over 100 yards passing, turned around, ran for over 100 yards, 4 total touchdowns, 83% completion percentage or 86% compared to the 40% that had been with the starting quarterback had. It was one hell of a performance by UNLV, their defense, and Malik Williams, as well as Ricky White III. It was the best game I've seen them play under Barry Odom squeeze.
I have never seen them play a better game with my own eyes, period. In all the time that we have been reporting on them, covering them. The couple of times that I went to practice, I recognized the speed on defense on all 3 levels. It seemed like it had hiked up a little bit. And I think that this team is, as long as they stay healthy, they're going to be hard to beat for the rest of this season. Now, Friday night is going to be a marker, right? But I'm fully expecting that momentum to continue. Because here's the issue. You know, I love defense. But if I'm a defender and I've never played against this before, this go-go offense is going to give me nightmares. You got to spend over half the game figuring out what's going to happen next. And by the time you even have an inkling of what to do, you're tired and beat down. You may mentally have it, but your body ain't going to let you get where you need to get. And that train is on the track going full speed ahead. So on both sides of the ball here, it's just a lot to deal with. It's going to be a lot to deal with for any team in the Mountain West. We thought that last week was going to be a tough game. When we were standing on the sideline talking to the Fresno State coach, I even said it. I'm like, hey, y'all ain't nothing to sneeze at either. I felt like UNLV could compete in prior seasons. They really couldn't, as far as I was concerned. Overall, I felt like they could compete, but I did not think that it was going to be a blowout like that. I just think when that train get to rolling, it's rolling downhill, and it's like LeBron on a breakaway. Just move, or you're gonna get hurt. So, I did not know that was the reaction of the team when they found out that Sluka was leaving.
Oh, the text I got. I was doing the spaces on Twitter that night. Jackson Woodard's texted me. Anthony Rosas is texting me. Ricky's texting me. I mean, my text messages are lit up with players who have relations, and they're all saying the same thing. About time. This is best for us. He's like, man, watch what we're about to do. I had a coach text me on Thursday because I just checked in. I'm like, hey, I'm just checking on your mental, making sure you're good with everything going on. He goes, bro, I'm straight. Wait till you see what we about to do on Saturday.
Wow. And they did it.
So
they did.
Yeah.
It was just different. It was just something happened at Allegiant on Saturday, man. There was just a totally different vibe. Just from top to bottom. I mean, damn, even the damn media food was better, bruh. Never had breakfast at that place. I mean, just something has changed. It's just a different feeling. It's been so many times where I wanted to just throw my camera down and just storm off the field from watching UNLV. When you get your hopes up so high because you see these little medial, the progression of them, right? But now they've progressed leaps and bounds, and I believe that they're on a track to win the Mountain West and find themselves off in the playoff, man. I really believe it can happen, and if it does, I got 3 words for Las Vegas, not just for UNLV, for Las Vegas. Pay Barry Odom.
I think that's happening. I think Harp's made that clear that that's his number one priority. So
Good.
with their new deal, and I think this is where it's a good segue into the new deal that they signed is for staying in the Mountain West, where they get $24.8 million as a signing bonus to stay. They also will see $14 million of that next season, and then 1.5 to 1.8. Additionally, though, are receiving 24.5% of the media rights deal that they currently have, and then what they will have if they're still in the conference after 2026. But one of the most important things, besides the economics of that deal, is UNLV, and I've confirmed this with the very 2 high-ranking sources in athletics, that they can leave the conference at any time for a Power 4 conference without having to pay an exit fee. So it's set up. Harp did a great job of negotiating this deal. I know that his stomach was in knots, especially on Monday when everything happened, when they were going to sign, and then Utah State decided they wanted to go to the Pac-12 and kind of threw everything in an uproar. But credit Gloria Navarez, also the Mountain West commissioner, for one, respecting Vegas enough and UNLV enough to make them the flagship program in the entire conference. For the first time ever in any conference, UNLV is loved and respected and valued. And I think that played a big role in everything too. The Pac-12, they were just going to be a throw-in because, we couldn't get Memphis, Tulane, South Florida, and UTSA. So, let's just go back to Vegas because we'll take them in Utah State and we'll be okay.
Right.
You know what? No, we're not little brother. We're not little brother. So now you look at what UNLV has, and I think they're in a really good place financially long term. I mean, I think the least amount of money they're going to get in any year whatsoever will be about $9 million, and that's off the current. So $9 million minimum coming in, and then whatever the TV deal is, you add whatever to that. UNLV is going to be sitting off in really good places financially. And now that's coming from a joke of a reporter. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Hey man, let me just say something about this joke of reporter stuff, please. Can I please just say a little bit? I'm tired of hearing this. All right, there is a reporter, a radio personality, if that's what you want to call him. I don't know the guy. If the guy was walking down the street, I wouldn't recognize him. I don't know what he looks like, but I remember for years just seeing this punk constantly just down talking Vegas teams, down talking the city's athletes. And I hated it before I even started doing this. I was like, who is this guy? What is his thing? I've been in a lot of markets around this nation. I've been in a lot of markets around. Who shits on their own? Who? What is that? And then you have the audacity to call another media member here a joke of a reporter. Look, man, this guy is the biggest joke I've seen since I've been doing this. And before I was doing this, I was doing something else. And that something else causes me to say, you better watch your fucking mouth. And that's all I got to say about it.
I got nothing to say. I listen to my big brother. My big brother said it. I'm not going to. Anyway, now that's been addressed. What I will say is former UNLV Rebels have hit me up. Tate Martell. Tate Martell's going to be at the game Friday again for the second time. Alex Perry. Doug Brumfield. Doug from the Hey Rep Pod with me and myself. Doug's going to be there with us. Oh, all you Sarah guys. Then I know Chuck said he wants to go, but Sloan Canyon has a game that night. So, but a lot of former Rebels are trying to get to the game. And I've been told, and this, I want to clear something up. And because this is not on UNLV. A lot of former Rebels are hitting them up to get and be on the sideline, and they want to have them there. but the Allegiant Stadium staff is trying to be fugazi about it. They're not trying to let them on. Like, you have too many people on the sidelines. Well, wait a minute. You have 500 recruits that were at last game, 380 to be exact, with the 100 coaches. So 480 people that want to come to UNLV, considering coming to UNLV. Yeah. Then you have another 500 sold out by Monday for recruits and 100 coaches wanting to come to the game on Monday or on Friday night. Yeah. It's becoming a hot ticket, period, point blank. And you got guys. So yeah, Dad, you seen the commitment that was posted on Wednesday, folks. If not, go ahead and look at my feed. Brooklyn committed, and that's a huge commit. And then I can say this, and I'm not going to say the name, but there is a big flip to UNLV that he hasn't put it out yet. Big time flip.
Can you say where from?
Local kid.
All right. I like that.
Local kid who I think is the best at his position.
In the city?
In the city.
Oh, my. I have some ideas here.
Yeah.
Oh, my. Yeah. That's big. That's big. But listen, let me say this. Look, I don't want to be, I don't want to be down on the former players or the recruits or everybody that wants to come to the game and be on the sideline. But my job for this company, I'm a cameraman, okay? I want to get the best possible footage I could possibly get of this historic season. We want to document it. And you know what you guys do? You get in my way. All right? So I am not blowing the horn for any of you to be on the sideline in my way. All right? Sorry. I'm trying to get shots. I'm trying to pay attention. Listen, it is hard. It is hard to try to understand what's going to happen next with Brennan Marion's offense. All right? It ain't easy to shoot. It's just as hard for a cameraman as it is for the defensive coordinator and the linebackers on the other side of the field. So I need you guys out of the way so that I can be in the place where I need to be to get the best shots possible. And I think that Trish would second what I'm saying right now. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but I hope Allegiant Stadium puts y'all ass up in the stands.
During the game, yes, but pre-game, they need to be on the field.
Oh yeah,
post-game, yeah, that's absolutely. The one thing I must say about Marion before we get up out of here is this: I've known B about 10 years. I've known him a long time. Yeah, Brennan has been investigated by the NCAA for helping kids get money. They investigated him for Jordan Addison's NIL deal with USC. They investigated him for all. Why on God's green earth would a person that's been investigated and all of them have been found to be not true? Why would he not help a kid get money? I don't understand that for the life of me. That's one of those things when it comes to it, Brennan Marion is a real dude. And for people like the person you called out a little while ago, calling for him to be fired, it's asinine. He is the hottest name for offensive coordinators in the country to be a head coach. The biggest name, and he's right here.
Bro, that person is a clickbait bum, man. Like, we honestly, as I think back, we should even be giving this guy none of our time on our platform. It's just, it's a joke. You know what I'm saying? Like that's literally, this coaching staff is the best thing that's happened to this school since I've been covering them. And the AP obviously feels the same because they're ranked on that joint right now. And we have not seen that. So all of this don't fire nobody. Keep that in your mouth. Let these men lead these young men to a Mountain West Conference championship and possibly into the CFP.
100%. So, but I'm saying I have to stand up for Brennan. And it's because it's, again, it's someone I have a relationship with who I love dearly. And for someone to say that about him and then say it, I think it doesn't make sense. So I'm going to stand up for my guy. And I'm going to give kudos where kudos is due because I've been critical of him. Eric Harper, I've been critical of you. You negotiated one hell of a contract, Harp. I got no problem. I think I'm fair. If someone's messing up, I'm gonna say I feel they're messing up. If they're doing something right, I'm gonna say they're doing something right. So I gotta give credit to Hart for that.
Listen,
deal.
man, that no exit fee thing, boy, that's big. He hit a home run with that.
Absolutely. Well, Speech, got anything to say before we get up out of here today?
That's about it, man. I'm just look, it's a big week in Vegas sports. Like we said, we got the Aces hanging on by a thread. Never underestimate the heart of a champion. This is the best UNLV team we've seen since we've been covering it. I think this is the best team that the city has seen in a long time. The Raiders, hey, they still in it. In the midst of all the drama. It seems like it's been some kind of drama every single year since they got into Las Vegas. But I do want to say this to the city. Come on, man. Support. Our teams need support. I love what you guys did for UNLV this weekend. I never seen a place like that. That was, they showed up. Got to do the same thing for the Raiders, man. There was too many Cleveland Brown fans in the stadium last week. It's ridiculous. Look, I'm a season ticket holder. Times when I shoot games, most of the time I sell my tickets. I understand. I understand it's an investment, and I understand that you can make a lot of money doing it. But at the same time, look, we can't sell all our tickets and then be claiming we want a winner. You know what I'm saying? It takes some sacrifice. So let's bring our asses out to the game. All right? Do better, Las Vegas. We got some teams out here that are turning the corner right now. We got great coaches all the way across the board, from hockey, from college basketball, women's basketball, college football, NFL football. Look, we are the center of sports in America right now. Let's show up like it. Much love. Vegas strong. Much love to all of the families. We know what week this is. This is a tough week in this city. Every year, it's going to always be a tough week in this city. So our hats off to all of the families that suffered during October 1 and the city itself, because it's anytime we think about it, it gives you that pit in your stomach. And I hate to see this week coming, just like most of us out here. So much love to Vegas.
Right, man. We can't forget about the first responders and everybody at the hospitals that was trying to save lives and save lives. And this goes out also to everybody that was there, but maybe not have been harmed physically, but mentally it's got you. Like, this goes out to you too, because I had some kids I coached that were there, and after the game, after that happened, like they canceled games, but practice wasn't the same the rest of the year for a lot of those kids. So, guys, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. Put the notifications to on if you're going on YouTube. We need you guys at the Franchise LV on all social medias, including TikTok. If you get it to 1,000 people, we can start going live on TikTok, and we have a bunch of fun stuff we could do if we go live, but you got to get us to a G first. For TQ, I'm Joe. We'll see you next week. Hopefully, Nye will be back with us for the Franchise Podcast.
Live and direct from the new planet Earth, where pandemics are plenty, but the girls are still pretty in fashion over dresses. You know what I'm talking about. Where ignorance is bliss.